Hello everyone, this is Manjula Devi P, Assistant Professor, GFGC Kanakpura. In this session, we are discussing about strategic management of BBA 6th semester, Bangalore University. In that unit 3, strategic planning. In this unit, we are discussing the topic Reconstruction Strategy. So what is reconstruction? What are the different types of reconstruction that the company can go for, and what is the reason why do they go for basically for the reconstruction is all about the subject matter of today's discussion. Actually, in the previous session we have discussed about retrenchment strategy. Okay, hope you all remember what is retrenchment strategy. So where it is like it involved divestment, it included like liquidation, it included like the reduction in the value or scope of the business. So it is in line with that. Basically the retrenchment was part of reconstruction in fact. Okay, now let's see what is reconstruction and see what are the different things which comes under that. Reconstructing is a corporate management term for the act of partially dismantling and reorganizing a company for the purpose of making it more efficient and therefore more profitable. So the name itself indicates restructure. You are changing the something, you are restructuring it. There was something before, the structure was something before, now you are making it different, you are rearranging it. So why the companies or why do the corporates go for it? So they would go mainly to make it more efficient. When the present structure is not as efficient as it should be, or as profitable or as efficient, it was thought so earlier. So it's better to restructure it or reconstruct it, then you can have hope for a better result. So the main reason is to make it more profitable. So here we are partially dismantling or reorganizing things so that to make it more efficient. Characteristics of restructuring. So when the restructuring takes place, so what are the features that we can observe in that? First and foremost, improvement in company's balance sheet. So mainly we see next, that is financial reconstructing and organizational structure reconstructing. In that, mainly the financial reconstructing happens mainly to improve the balance sheet position instantly. So you want to show a better balance sheet, so you are setting off, clearing off your all your fictitious assets with the unrealized reserves, so that you are making it better. Okay, you are cutting down you are cancelling the fictitious assets with the reserves or unrealized reserves, and you are splitting up the shares, or maybe you are consolidating the shares, or maybe you are converting your convertible debts into capital, so you are reducing the burden of debt from the balance sheet. So likewise, you want to improve the balance sheet position. Maybe you are cutting down the debt, converting into equity, you are cancelling the fictitious assets, totally to make it look decent enough. So that's one of the characteristic that we do. Then reduction of tax liability. Again, there are whole lot of reconstructing happens when it comes to operating leases, financial leases, where your all your forward integration, backward integration, all such decisions you take so that to avoid the tax liability. So instead of purchasing from someone, you purchase the whole business itself, so that it is part of your organization now, so that you don't have to pay all those excise duties and things, so that it's part of your business. Means mainly to reduce the tax liability, you may go for restructuring. Then divestment of underproductive assets. Yeah, in the retrenchment we have discussed in detail about divestment. Divestment is just the opposite of investment. It is also called as disinvestment, where you are just selling that division or that business unit which is not anymore profitable or which is having recurring losses, So the burden of it is falling on the entire organization. So we are divesting it. We are selling that particular portion. Outsourcing of some functions. Yeah, here it so happen mainly when we hear about BPO, that is business process outsourcing. Why do companies outsource their operation to someone? The main reason is to cut down their overheads costs, and if outsourcing is more economical than doing that inside the organization, then it's better to outsource it, isn't it? So taking an outsourcing decision is also part of restructuring. So it's like, say there was some activity, say housekeeping for example, the most simple one. Like you used to recruit the people for doing all the housekeeping job, and then they were in your payroll, you are paying them. So then maintenance becomes expensive. So then what you do, you outsource that entire activity of housekeeping to one housekeeping organization, and strike out some deal for it, so that you don't have to worry. You just have to pay whatever the total amount you had dealt. You don't have to deal with the individual laborers who come for outsourcing. You don't have to maintain their record. You don't have to be personally responsible for whatever happens, because they're on the contract basis from some other business. So that means it is more easier for you to balance. So in the restructuring, we also look for options, whichever the activity that can be outsourced, so that the risk, and if it is more economical, then better to go for such outsourcing. Then relocation of operations. Again, this location decision is also one of the very important decision. Suppose your operations are more profitable, more economical, more viable in some location, it's better to shift there than working on the location where it is not so economical or viable. So even that is one of the restructuring decision. Then reorganization of marketing, sales and distribution. So your entire marketing channel or your marketing function, so how it was, it's like re-engineering. You're seeing how it was and how it should be, what should be the best course of action, and you're reorganizing it. Then renegotiation of labor contracts. See, I was talking about outsourcing of laborers. Same way here, you just renegotiate. Maybe you already had a contract with somebody with regarding some of the supply of the laborers for some section or for some division or things. Now you renegotiate it as per the new marketing conditions. Then debt refinancing. So again, maybe you had debt in your balance sheet. Maybe you have huge trade receivables or debtors or bills receivables. Now maybe you are going for factoring of the debt, or you are selling the debt and making your own, getting the finance from whoever the factorer. So even that is one of the restructuring decision. Then public relation, reposition and rebranding, very important. Here I would like to quote the example of, say, Fair and Lovely. Like earlier it was called as Fair and Lovely, a very old brand. I think since our parents' generation, I think Ponds was there. After Ponds, Fair and Lovely came into picture. Okay, this Fair and Lovely ruled the fairness creams market since decades. So recently, say I think last year, they changed their strategy. They repositioned it. So what is the new name they have for Fair and Lovely? It is Glow and Lovely. They have taken out the word fair and replaced it with the word glow, because now this concept of fair, dark, it is like leading to a sort of racism thing. So it's not necessary fair is beautiful. So they are talking about being glowing is important than being fair. So something, they have come up with a new branding reposition, where they are putting it as Glow and Lovely. So where according to the change of the scenario, change of the approach, or change of the market condition, it's better we also restructure ourselves, redo the mission, or alter the vision or main objective or our outlook of the commodity, or change the balance sheet situation. So anyway, to cope with the scenario or to make it more efficient, more profitable, whatever we do is part of restructuring in fact. So types of corporate restructuring. Here the restructuring, the main idea itself is to become more profitable or to make it more efficient. But even in that, when we are doing the restructuring, it can be in the form of financial restructuring or organizational restructuring. So in financial restructuring, what happens? Mainly you are focusing on the balance sheet figures. So either you're converting your debts into capital, making your convertible shares into part of equity, or you're buying back of shares if there is overcapitalization, or as I said, you're writing off the fictitious assets for the unrealized reserves that you have in your balance sheet. So totally or splitting up of the shares or consolidating the shares, making say 10 shares is equal to one stock, or say you are dividing one share into two shares, splitting the shares. So basically here the main concentration is improve your balance sheet position, make your balance sheet position more look more good. So that is financial restructuring. Again, issuing more shares, redeeming of the shares, or like anything what you do with regarding finance to make your balance sheet look better is part of your financial restructuring. Then we have organizational restructuring. So here in this case, of course, the main idea is to improve the financial position. But here what we do, maybe the changes are there in the organization structure itself, or maybe you are having more of thinking of more strategic alliances, or you are thinking of changing the roles, or maybe in any of the functional area, whether it is marketing or productions, operations. So you are making some major changes so that you are making your corporate more efficient. So any of such restructuring, even your mergers, you're merging with someone or you're demerging with someone, you are taking over some corporation, or you're divesting, you're selling portion of your business. So all those things are basically part of the organizational restructuring. So why do corporates go for restructuring, corporate restructuring? The main reason, as I said, improving the profits, for improving their financial position. Then change in business strategy. So very important, if they want to alter their business strategy. So whatever their corporate strategy was before, or their main mission, vision, their objectives, if they want to change it, or if they want change in any of the functional area. So maybe in the marketing they want to reposition their brand, or they want to create rebrand their commodity, or they want to go for reverse engineering with regarding production. They want to find a better way of producing things. So likewise, if they want to bring any change in their present business strategy, becomes part of restructuring. Then reverse synergy. Yeah, here it is like you had taken a decision earlier, now you want to reverse it. Maybe the decision what you had taken is not working the way you want it. Okay, it's like you want to undo the decision and redo the correct one. So then also you may go for restructuring. Then cash flow requirement. Suppose if the organization is in a cash crunch, and if it is requiring the cash flow, then also you may go for restructuring. Maybe you may go for issuing of the shares, issuing of bonds, collecting public deposits, or you may be divesting portion of your business which is not more profitable, which is not in line with your corporate integration. So you may sell part of it so that you realize some of the money into it. So these are the basic reasons why they go for restructuring. Yeah, then what are the restructuring strategies? If you have already decided to restructure your business, through which ways, what are the ways in which you may go for restructuring? Okay, anyway, all these topics we have discussed earlier with regarding other business strategies. Okay, expansion strategy, growth strategy, retrenchment strategy. So somewhere any of in that we have discussed it. No problem, we'll talk again about all these topics by thinking restructuring in the mind. Okay, actually mergers acquisition we also discussed as part of expansion strategy or growth strategy, but here we'll discuss the same thing. When they want to restructure their business, how can they take the help of mergers and acquisition? Same way with strategic alliance or joint venture. Actually divestiture we discussed in retrenchment strategies, but here we'll think how this can be part of the restructuring. Yeah, restructuring could be anything where you are altering your regular course of operation, either in the financial matter or in the other organizational structure related matters. Then that is part of restructuring. So let's see one by one. Mergers and acquisitions, technically they are called as amalgamations. So in this case it could be where two different companies merging together and forming a new company, or one big company like a parent company taking over a small company, or both the companies coming together and forming a new company, or where one is getting merged with the other company. So this all could be different variants of mergers and acquisitions. Now how can this be part of restructuring? See, here it so happened in any of the recent mergers, if you see merger of all state banks together, or like many like Vodafone and Idea got merged together. So they did some restructuring in their organization. What is the main idea? To improve the efficiency, to grab more market share, isn't it? And sometimes the takeovers happen to curb the competition. If somebody is your competitor, you take them inside your organization, so now it's part of your business. Okay, they're not your competitors, you are owning it now. Okay, there are many synergies or many strategies work behind it. So if you are restructuring, it's also part of restructuring where you are altering your business by taking over someone, or by you getting merged with someone, or by acquiring your suppliers or your customers whom you used to sell the goods. So all those could be part of your mergers and acquisition strategy where you want to restructure your business. Then reverse merger, just the opposite of merger. Okay, it's like you had merged together, now you are demerging it. That means maybe the merger or acquisition what happened, aftermath, it's not working as it was supposed to be, or the unit what you had taken in, it's not sinking inside the business flow, it's not adding any value to your value chain, or it's not in line with the or the value of the business is greater without this. So in all such cases, what they do, they go for reverse merger. It's like a turnaround strategy where they had taken a decision, then once they found it's not working the way it should be, then they are doing a turnaround, and means they are doing the reverse of what they did. Okay, then that could also be part of restructuring. So this is like where you are redoing the thing, or undoing and redoing what is proper. Then divestiture, or it is also called as disinvestment or divestment. So in this case, in the entire corporate, as you know, it is of so many business units, or any major business division or a minor division or one business unit, strategic business unit, if it is making continuous losses, or if the maintenance costs of that particular segment is more, it's not economical as it is supposed to be, or if there are too many issues with regarding that particular uh, venture, so then what you do, you decide to divest it. Recently, I think More, have you heard More brand of retail chain? It was with Aditya Birla, then they divested it. So they didn't want to involve in the FMCG sector. So they divested it, they sold it off. So likewise, of course, More is more profitable. Like, it's not that More was making losses. Maybe Aditya Birla didn't want to spend their time on More, the same resources what they could spend on More, if they put it on some other core competency of their business, then the value would have been even more. That's why what they did, they took the decision of this divestiture. So usually any loss making business, or the business which requires more time and resources, which in turn could be put on any other segment, usually they divestitute or divestiture or disinvest that part, then that is part of again the reconstruction or restructuring strategy. Then joint venture, so where you are venturing out with some other strategic partner. So here maybe you feel as a corporate that taking someone else into your line of business, or taking someone's assistance, will benefit you as well as the other person. So you get into this joint venture where both the companies, or whoever there in the joint venture, two or more companies, pool in their expertise and then get the work done. So maybe it is for a particular project, maybe it is for a particular duration. So that is about joint venture, where all the parties into the joint venture are are having the idea to make profit out of it together, instead of competing separately. When they are in one particular venture, then the result is expected to be better. Then strategic alliance. Strategic alliance is where the strategic partners in that particular venture, they are having their individual identity, but still they are sort of helping each other. To quote the example, KFC and Pepsi. Okay, KFC, as everyone know, is one of the famous brand of fast food item. So now if you go to KFC malls or like KFC shops, you will get a soft drink from any of the Pepsi variant. Okay, Pepsi has their own variant of drinks. If you go to McDonald's, you will get the variants of Coke, different variants of Coke. Okay, Coke has its own Coke, Fanta, all such things, Sprite, things like that. So that is strategic alliance, where in McDonald's only Coke is available, or in KFC Pepsi is allowed. So they are into one strategic alliance. Okay, and again it could be I think it was about ICICI Bank and Vodafone. So they have something called M-Pay or something, where their like sales or the cash transaction is facilitated, and all the messages and telecommunication service is given by Vodafone for ICICI. Same way, if you go to any of your online banking websites, so you see ads of particular shopping things, or things like that, where that particular company is in alliance with this bank, so that by using that bank's card you can make easy payments and purchases of with offers and discounts and things like that. So that is basically those two, your bank and that particular business, online business especially have got into the strategic alliance. So even here you are thinking in terms of restructuring, where you are adding that strategy of getting alliance with someone, so you also get benefited, and that particular partner, strategic partner, whoever is associated with you, also gets benefited of each other. So these are the different ways in which the restructuring can take place. Now just to have a recap of what we discussed so far, it is the corporate management term for the act of partially dismantling or reorganizing company for the purpose of making it more efficient. So here you are partially dismantling or divesting or selling it, or you are reorganizing your organization in a maybe with regarding the structure, maybe with regarding the strategy, operations. You are bringing some change in it. So even that is part of your restructuring. So this involves selling off portions, or in fact merging with someone, or acquiring someone, or getting into strategic alliance with someone. So all those part of the restructuring. So sometimes restructuring is often done to save bankruptcy. Suppose if the business is in utter financial crisis, to save that, maybe they go for divestiture. They sell portion of the business so that they get cash inflow. Then that cash inflow can be used for clearing the debts. So this can also become as a savior at the time of crisis. Then again, usually this restructuring is done in the supervision of someone, usually a CEO hired specially for that purpose, especially in that such bankruptcy cases and things. Then it is done from the supervision of the court or by the Department of Government. Okay. So otherwise, usual restructuring of the organization structure and financial restructuring keeps happening for improving the efficiency and to having an edge to the organization. These are some of the references which I have used, which you can go through for understanding the concept more. And please do read day-to-day business, economic times and business news. So you will get to know the new mergers, new acquisitions, and which are the company going for restructuring, and things you will get to know. More than theory, it's better when you see the practical things happening in the corporate world. You can connect the concept what you have learnt. Anyway, thank you very much. We'll meet in the next video.